Social justice includes a wide range of issues such as gender inequality, racial inequality, LGBTQ plus rights, disability rights, and economic inequality as well. Disempowered groups frequently face system blockade that limit access to education, employment, healthcare, and legal protections. These inequalities contribute to the cycles of poverty, discrimination, and social exclusion as well. Addressing these challenges requires active policies and advocacy to that effect. Without meaningful action, a lot of people will continue to experience injustice and unequal opportunities. One of the subjects under social justice is LGBTQ plus rights. The problem description is that lawmakers with a conservative and religious upbringing are more likely to make biased choices that can lead to increased discrimination against the queer community. And this discrimination can affect the LGBTQ members' mental health and cause a decline in such. And some causes of this can be said religious upbringing and the conservative beliefs some lawmakers have. And effects of these lawmakers' nature is the decline in queer mental health, as stated before, due to an increase in discrimination and internalized homophobia. How do we implement pro LGBTQ plus laws? We can implement anti-LGBTQ plus laws through funding an organization such as the Trevor Project. You can volunteer for them and share their information through social media and word of mouth. Another way to implement laws is by contacting legislators, which you can do through letters or physical visits to protest laws. Some advantages to this is the well-being of the queer community. Passing these laws can show that they are accepted and that they matter. And challenges for implementing these laws is the lawmakers' overwhelming power that they have and the overwhelming power that those with homophobic and transphobic natures can have.
Right. Gender inequality is one of the problems under social justice, and I'll be talking about the problems description, causes, and effects. So, gender equality means treating people unfairly just because of their gender, and this is a very big problem in the society. This makes life harder for many. It causes issues like lower social status, difficulty getting healthcare, and slower development in the society. The causes of gender equality is the act of being unfair or having unfair beliefs about gender roles, differences in education opportunities, and fewer women in politics, amongst other issues. The effects of gender inequality is a serious problem because it causes stress, mental health struggles, and even violence against certain genders, more especially the women. So solving gender inequality requires changing these unfair beliefs, improving education for everyone and ensuring equal opportunities in all areas of life. So the implementations, advantages, and challenges of gender inequality, how to implement pro-equality laws. The government and organizations needs to introduce pro-equality laws, that are rules that ensures equal treatment for everyone. Programs that empower people, especially women and marginalized genders, are also needed to give them better opportunities in education, jobs, and leadership. The role of legal reforms, changing the role of legal reforms, in changing and introducing new laws, can help stop gender inequality, and it creates fair policies for workplaces, education, healthcare, and political participation. But however, these laws may have some challenges, like it involves the stakeholders like government officials, businesses and citizens to come together in agreements, to agree and approve these new policies. This might take a little time, or it might not be able to address the present issue urgently, but however, it's still important for a long-term change in the society.
Economic inequality. It is a widening gap between the rich and the poor, leads to increase in poverty and limits access to healthcare and education. Low income individuals have less access to quality education and resources, while they are more accessible in richer communities. It is important to make these important elements accessible to everyone to ensure a stable economy. What causes income inequality? There are many causes when it comes to this topic, and research to find the root cause has been neglected, but these are the ones I chose to focus on. Economic crisis, which would be COVID-19 pandemic. During the pandemic, people who were not essential workers or educated in computer technology lost jobs and remained unemployed during the shutdown. This can tie into limited access to education. Um, Investing in quality education can widen opportunity for low income individuals to obtain higher paying and stable jobs. Accessible programs is another way we can decrease the effects of this issue, but unfortunately, the there's a lack of government funding. So it's important for everyone as a community to come together and invest in the education programs and to help enforce policies.
Racial inequality is the unequal distribution of resources, opportunities, and treatment based on race. It can affect many aspects of society, including housing, employment, education, and healthcare. Racial inequality limits marginalized groups from moving forward. The causes of racial inequality stem from slavery, systemic discrimination, segregation, and bias. This issue continues into our daily habits and it seems normal nowadays. Blatant racism, colorism, white supremacy, and culture erasure are some examples of this. Discriminatory policies like redlining led to segregated neighborhoods, limited political representation and overriding, and decline in mental health. Some solutions for racial inequality are that we have more empathy, to be more aware and not pretend that the issue doesn't exist because some aren't affected by it, to not compare issues and make one seem bigger or smaller than the other, and to educate ourselves. We can implement this by teaching our children, having workshops for aspiring educators, better healthcare access, and addressing indirect harmful bias.
Disability rights is another social justice issue. There are different types of disabilities, from physical disabilities like mobility impairments and blindness to developmental issues like autism and Down syndrome. There are also sensory disabilities like hearing loss and visual impairments, mental health like depression and anxiety, and there are also learning disabilities like dyslexia and ADHD. Some of the causes of disability rights are the social inclusion. So disabled people have been excluded from society, leaving them with social issues. Also, the healthcare, accessing healthcare with inexperienced staff and proper training, as well as education and employment. There are very limited accommodations in education, leading to less career opportunities. Some of the effects of disability rights are the anti-discrimination laws. So laws with legal protections for people with disabilities. This protects them against discrimination from employment, educations, and public accommodations. It helps mandate employer, schools, and public spaces to make reasonable accommodations for people with disabilities. For education, it allows them to have personalized learning plans, extra time on tests, or different formats for assignments. For the healthcare, it allows medical facilities to become more accessible to people with physical disabilities creating more services to help provide to the specific needs of people with disabilities. Ways to implement this are to ensure that laws are being enforced, to offer specialized services like sign language and interpreters, and adapted learning materials in education, and for employers to adjust work scheduling, specialized equipment, accessible workstations for the disabled. For healthcare, the healthcare professionals should be more trained to work with people with disabilities.
It is important to not only find solutions to solve inequality amongst groups at a social disadvantage, but to also be realistic when planning the solutions. So, in order for us to achieve true social justice, we must advocate for programs and policies put in place to protect the social rights of individuals. With the implementation of the solutions suggested in our PowerPoint, there could be a day where no minority group is treated differently because of who they are.